Joining us now is retired CIA Operations Officer Clare Lopez. Clare, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Chanel.
Clare, I want your insight as an outside observer to all of this. I know you've been retired out of the agency for a bit now, but the story we're being told right now is that this was a lone wolf shooter incident. There are lots of facts that are raising doubts about the scenario. What sticks out the most to you as an observer of the Trump assassination, and do you believe this is consistent with a lone wolf attack?
Well, you know, just as you say, Chanel, you're absolutely right that we do have to wait for the investigation to proceed and to play out before we come to any conclusions ourselves. But what does stand out to me is that it would seem to me, at least as an outside observer, that the shooter, this Thomas Crooks, only 20 years old, would have had to either himself or under guidance from others, we do not know whom, would have had to case out the venue, decide on where he was going to be, how he was going to get to the top of that warehouse rooftop, and also to know somehow that that warehouse rooftop was not going to be occupied or covered in some way by the Secret Service. And to me, that sounds like quite a bit for a 20-year-old dietary assistant at a health facility, healthcare facility to do. So just as you say, lots of questions, and there's a lot of answers we don't have yet.
Well, given your timeline and your time with the agency, what is your knowledge about how the agency reacted when President Reagan was shot? I assume that they had a lot of information about what was happening, and they kept a lot of information close to the vest. Talk about that kind of historical remembrance, that historical marker.
Well, I don't know anything about any of that. I was not in a position to know any of that, but what I will say is that in this investigation right now, it is the FBI that has the lead in terms of the investigation. For example, we know from media reporting that they have the cell phone of the shooter, Thomas Crooks, and it is at Quantico, Virginia, the FBI facility there. But as far as we know from reporting so far, the FBI has not been successful yet in getting into that phone. But at the same time, I'll add that very quickly, I mean within hours, if not sooner, after the shooting, all of Crooks' social media had been completely wiped from the internet. Now, I don't know if that happened after the shooting or before the shooting, or who might have done that. But that social media source of information is gone to the public.
Right, and that's a source of extreme suspicion right now. I spoke to other individuals who are in the State Department and cybersecurity, and they say it's so unusual that someone with this profile would have almost a zero digital footprint. And there's a lot of questions about who's responsible for having that zero digital footprint. Is our government wiping it? Was it already wiped? Those are questions that I think that technical people can answer, but from a strategic standpoint, is it in the government's interest to wipe all that information from the public view, hold it close to the chest during this investigation?
Well, I do know that typically when there is a shooting event like this, that law enforcement, the agencies do tend to wipe the social media. Now, that said, I don't think there's a 20-year-old in America that doesn't have a digital footprint, and probably a pretty extensive one. But as I said, very soon after the shooting, that social media was gone to the public view, and certainly it was very shortly after the public was actually informed of the name, the identity of the shooter, Thomas crooks.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.